La Chica here, and this is going to be a fun little experiment. I'm going to give you a sneak preview of my year-end studio cleanup sale, which usually I do in person, but now we're doing it virtually because we can't be in person. So we'll start with this fun little painting. Actually, I'm not selling this one, but I thought you might get a kick out of it. I'll be curious to see if anybody knows what this is a takeoff on. This is a takeoff of a very famous painting by a famous woman, Mexican artist that did this painting of her and her husband, and this kind of looks like me and my husband. My husband's a guitar player, so that's why we have that there. And we've got a little holiday scene here for La Chica's decorations for the holiday. And let me turn this around and I'll give you a sneak preview of some of the paintings that'll be in the year-end studio clearance sale. And these are all going to be 50% off the prices that I have them on the on my website. So take advantage. So I'll run this through the end of the year, maybe potentially into early January, but definitely through the end of the year. So let's start with some of these. I'm grabbing my notes here to see. We've got some little small ones. We'll talk about those. This one here is a scene. It's called Track Messages, and I was on the train going to LA back when we all used to ride trains more often. So this is only about a year ago, and I saw this scene, and I just love the light and the graffiti that's on this building as you go along the train track. So I call this Track Messages, and that's called, that's 12 inches by 6 inches, all nicely framed. The frame is part of it. And this normally would be $700, so you can get it as part of my studio sale for $350. So that's a deal. And then this one is called Throw Me Some Rainbow Shade. So if anybody's been to Crystal Cove Beach, which is a state beach in California, it's kind of wedged in between Corona del Mar and Laguna and Newport Beach, and it has these really great vintage cottages that they've been rehabilitating bit by bit, and that's what that is. And so they're all sort of gray and weather beaten, and then this rainbow umbrella that I saw there. So I painted that on location, and the rainbow umbrella really popped against the grays there. So that one is 8 by 10, and it normally would be $500. So the special price for the basement sale is $250, and that includes the frame. Let me come down here. This one is kind of an interesting perspective, and come over to this side, and that is a view from an office building in downtown LA, and it's looking down onto the Standard Hotel rooftop. And so that's a pretty famous hotel in downtown LA, and they've got a swimming pool there. There's nightlife going on up top there. The deck it's just amazing being there, and very, very LA chill. And then it's surrounded by all these office buildings. So again, it's sort of this juxtaposition of grays, and then you have this pop of color against the gray buildings. So when I saw that, I was visiting there and saw that view, and I thought, oh, I just love the angles, and it makes you feel like you just want to jump into that pool from up top. So that's what that one's all about. And that one is normally $800. It's a 14 by 18, and that'll go for $400. And then at the bottom here, let me make sure we can see that one. Let me check it here, zoom it in a little bit. This one's actually not even on my website yet. This is an iconic place in Santa Monica. It's called Ray's. It's a diner that's been there forever, so it's Ray's, and it's on Pico Street, so I call it Ray's on Pico, and it's just this great 1950s diner, may even be older than that, and we were having breakfast there, and I'm like, oh, I've got to paint this. I just love the shape of the sign and the greens and the reds, very Christmassy colors. And then on the right hand side, you can see the barber shop that's there and still functioning. So that's a cool one. And Ray's on Pico is that is 20 by 24, or 24 inches wide, 20 inches tall, with a frame, and it's normally $800, and I've got that one on sale for $400. So everything's 50% off. Sprinkled in between here, you've got some. Make sure I've got this back where you can see everything. You've got these little gems, which are great little stocking stuffers, and these are 6 by 6 inches, and each of these is $100. So this one's called Neon Gas. That's $100, and that's just a great little size. You can kind of fit anywhere, as you can see here. That's in the LA area. This one actually I did in Arizona, Phoenix area. It's called After the Storm, so it kind of tells you it was this big storm had come in, and then that was, the sky was just awesome, and you have a little bit of traffic down at the bottom. And then this one is, just blanked out on his name. He's a famous blues player right now, young guy, Gary, somebody will know who's watching. And we saw his concert. He opened up for another band, and I just thought he was amazing. And Gary Clark, and but I loved his he had this Star Spangled guitar, and then the red lighting that was going on stage, and the colors of the light, hitting the guitars and the tops of the drums, and the smoke that was coming up, and all that kind of fun effect there. So those little guys are each $100, come with a frame, and so those are easy for me to pop in the mail and send to you. And then over here, let me kind of move this. We have a couple of other paintings, and the top one is called the Monterey. So those of you that are Route 66 fans, this is a painting on Route 66 in downtown Albuquerque. And it was a hot day. You can feel the heat coming off that pavement. And a guy's just kind of meandering down the street there. And again, I just love the shape of the sign. It goes back to the 50s and very vintage. And thank goodness, it's kind of amazing that these places still exist and nobody's torn them down. So I'm very happy about this. This one is, that one is 18 inches across, 36 inches high, and it normally would be $1,800 on my website, and right now for this special sale it'll be 50% off, so $900. This one is another kind of vintage place. I guess I specialize in vintage places, and this is called, I call it Classical Gas. Some of you might have remembered there was a song in probably the 60s or 70s called Classical Gas. So that's what this one is. It's this vintage gas station in Utah, and it was a fall day, and so what really drew me to paint this, and I painted this on location, is the kind of electricity between the fall color of the orange fall leaves against that bright blue turquoise sky. And then you have these old gas pumps here, and then these really cool old trucks. I'm not an expert on old trucks, but I'd say these look like they're probably from the 30s or 40s. And that one is 20 inches across, 16 inches high. Normally it sells for $1,200, so the special would be $600, and that comes with a frame as well. And I'll show you two more. And then this is part one. I'll come back in a few days and show you part two. So this is a painting. Let me check and make sure you can see this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. That's called Back Bay Tarmac. And so we used to live on the Back Bay in Newport Beach. And there's this great biking and walking trail that goes all around it, and I used to do that very regularly. And at certain times of the day, you would see these birds all come in, and they're almost like they're having happy hour there or something. And it was just magnificent. So I painted out on location there a lot and loved it. And I call this Back Bay Tarmac because it looks like they're all lined up to take off, and some are coming in for a landing, and others are getting ready to take off. So that's why I call it that. And it is, check the dimensions here. That's a 11 by 14. And normally it would be $800. So the 50% off sale would be $400. And one more we'll do here. I have to make sure my antlers don't fall off here. They're not really fitting on my head, but anyway, got to get into the holiday season here. So this one is called, let me zoom in, the Bewitching Hour. And I painted this when we lived in Baltimore, Maryland. And it was just, I mean, it's just beautiful there. The foliage, there's so many trees and greenery. So the challenge was always, how do you capture that without it just being a all green painting? And so at late in the day, which is my favorite time to paint, you can get all these colors, and I'll zoom in and you can see the colors in the tree trunks, which really were there. I'm a colorist painter. I admit I might have exaggerated those just a bit, but not really. I could see those, and it's just, I don't know, there's something about that painting that just is kind of a feeling of calm. And that's called the Bewitching Hour. And it's 14 inches across by 11 inches high, normally $800 for $400. And so let me just kind of do one last zoom in so you can see some of these up close. You just saw that one. We'll zoom in on the classical gas one. You can see those little vintage trucks, aren't those crazy? And then the old gas pumps and the leaves of the trees. I think those were cottonwood trees against the turquoise sky. We've got the Monterey. Here's the guy, wondering probably if I was stalking him as I was painting there on the street. And you've got that sign, the Monterey Hotel, on a hot day. Route 66, you've got a car coming down the street. And what this painting kind of exemplifies how I like to use complementary colors, which are colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So this has your purples and yellows, and those next to each other really create a vibration that I love. And then we've got the neon gas one. This is the little 6x6, $100. We've got the track messages, which is, the graffiti along the train tracks, and you've got a little water tower there. All that's happening. And the Throw Me Some Rainbow Shade at Crystal Cove. That's a nice 8x10 size, or I should say 10x8. And then you've got Gary Clark here. I call this Red Hot Blues. He was opening for Eric Clapton at the LA Forum. We saw that a few years ago. So that's a little 6x6. We've got the Jump In, probably should call it Jump Right In, which is the top of the Standard Hotel in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles. Lots of fun and parties there. And then we've got the After the Storm, which is from Arizona, and that is another 6x6. And then the last one here is Ray's on Pico. So you can kind of feel people there having their brunch and the barbershop. And that's the sneak preview of the studio sale. And I will come back with more gems that I think I probably have another 10 or more that I'll show you at another day. So thanks for joining, and hasta la vista, Feliz Navidad. Bye bye.